Hello, everybody, and welcome. Happy Tuesday. Excited to be here with everyone and to have company today. It's always so much fun. Welcome, Judy. Judy Campbell is with me. She is an amazing integrative, holistic wellness specialist who helps folks who are navigating the medical system with less grace and ease than they would like to find all those other beautiful pieces that are available to them so that they can find their health and wellness at all new levels. And Jody's got a lot of magic and that she shares. And so we're excited. Welcome, Judy. I'm so excited
to have you. I'm happy to be here.
So Judy's the reason, well, one of the reasons that we're talking about this topic today. It's been on my radar, but I woke up to a thread full of messages this morning from Judy and the other folks who have been in, who were in this spring Soul Client Alignment group. And so they've moved on to the alchemy lab. And so they were alchemizing this morning, helping Judy to move the meter with her content creation. And so Judy's been really frustrated. And so I was like, oh, this is perfect because this is what we're supposed to be talking about today. So I'm taking inspired action, and hopefully all of you will be inspired by what we've got going on today. So Judy, anything else you want to share before we dive in?
I do want to share something really quick. This is something in the Soul Attraction program that I kind of put in the not for now column, which was creating a bite-sized offer. And so I've got my big program all packed up, ready to go. I've got clients that are enjoying the benefits of that program. But I want to create something that is a bite-sized offer that will bring in at least curiosity, more calls of people who are interested in finding out more about Four Pathways. Meanwhile, receiving and learning from some of my gifts and some of the, like a monthly offer for a very low introductory rate. So yeah, I'm in the midst of just creating this, and the energies have just been like, even though the moon is in void supposedly, and we're not supposed to create, I don't know. I just have this flurry of it's time to create this bite-sized offer today. So
beautiful. Yes. And I do have folks wait. And oftentimes when folks come into my world, they already have a number of different offers and we're refining things or because we're doing all the research to really deeply understand our who. And so, we get out in the world and we want to earn while we learn and make things happen. And so then we are, what's the next layer and the next layer. So there was a lot of Sherryisms going on in the thread today, so we would dive in. And if you're joining us live, remember we're on StreamYard, so you need to give them permission so that I can see we can see who you are and see your comments. So I know we've got a couple folks with us. Hi, Lane. Good to have you. And I will keep kind of my phone going over here as well. So except we'll mute that. So I don't hear myself. All right, so let's dive in. So what we are talking today about is creating offers that your soul clients really desire. And apparently I'm not supposed to watch this on my phone because it's not working. So we're gonna leave it over there. And it has to be, what I see and what makes me crazy, and I'll get on my soapbox about all day long, is when people are creating offers in a vacuum where they are like, creating content, creating offers, and they haven't done the research. They're working from here, thinking that they know what's best, and they do know what's best probably for their soul client, but are they presenting it and putting it in a package that their soul client is ready to receive? What's that messaging? What is it that they desire? And so ensuring that what we are creating is going to land and going to be an easy yes, which is why we really dig in deep in soul client alignment to your who, till we get to the place where you're excited about your who and you're leaning in. Then I know that we've got that connection and we can create from that place. So what are the key mistakes that can keep you in a loop of content creation without getting results? And I know that this can resonate for Judy because has been an opportunity for growth in your world.
Again.
Again. Which is all good. Like, we're earning while we're learning though, right? Like you're earning while you're learning. So one of the biggest things that I see is that we can get in the energy of creating content because we think we should. We're shoulding ourselves. I should go live every day. I should post every day. I should. And yeah, don't should all over yourself. We do need to take action. We do need to be intentional, however, with both our energy and the message. And so people will just throw up content and I'm like, well, what's it leading to? What is the problem it's addressing for your soul client? And it's great to be inspirational and throw some inspirational posts, but it's also important that your soul client feels seen, that they're like, oh, she gets me. She gets that I've been creating content and no one is paying attention. She gets that I'm not getting results and she's got an answer. So we need to be thoughtful and intentional. And sometimes we think we are, for a long time, I was like, I got this. I know what they need. But I was skipping steps. And as my clients learn, they're like, oh, you mean I'm addressing the problem under the problem instead of the problem. So yes, so that can be the issue. We're already diagnosing when our client doesn't even, that they're not there yet. So
they don't know.
They don't know yet. They don't know yet. So that's the second thing that we're often doing with our content. We're too far along the client journey for their awareness journey. I call it the soul client awareness journey. And we need to be meeting our client where they're at. We're so excited and we can see, like I can be listening to somebody and I'm like, oh, I know what the problem is. I know what needs to be fixed. And I'm already 3 steps ahead and I have to slow my roll. And that's one thing that we learned in Soul Client Alignment is slow your roll. Because if we're too far along, it goes over. They're like, that's not me. They don't see themselves in your content. If you're too far along, hear me again, they aren't going to see themselves in your content and they're just going to scroll right by or hit delete or whatever it is because they can't see themselves. So
can I say something really
please?
quick? I think I see this in the progression of some of my marketing posts where I'm starting to veer away from the getting that message to them versus like I'm getting too far into the program and too far into how I can help them versus just staying with the what's going to get them to recognize, oh, that's me.
Yes.
And that happens very easily.
Yeah, and it is easy to do. And so Judy has offered to show up today and get coaching on the spot. So she's getting heart seat coaching. So yeah, that is something I've noticed. And that's why I've kind of stepped in gently with, as one of my other clients says, with my Zen stick and said, what are we doing here? What's the intention? Yes. What journey are you trying to take people on? So thank you, Judy, for, being willing to show up today and anybody else who's got, anything that if you've got something that you want to get some feedback on, throw it in the comments and if we want to, and if we have time, I'll send you a link and you can pop into the studio with us. So anyways, okay. So thank you, ma'am. Yeah. So there's awareness there. I love that you are, but it's important for you to have that discovery for yourself and have that understanding, so that when I say to you, where are we in this process? You get it. So the question then becomes, okay, this isn't landing. I was too far along in the journey. I'm not meeting them where they're at. So what do I need to do? Where do I need to focus to not just connect, but actually shine, so people can be like, I need to talk to her. She has something I need, or they just want to be in your orbit because they're like, I like her frequency. She's,
Right.
And so the first thing, and I've kind of addressed this already. So the first thing is, we need to be showing up, talking about our soul client's problem as they see it. Period. So every time I come back to when someone's, sharing with me what they're working on, and I'm like, okay, but what problem is that addressing that your soul client has? So that is foundational. So knowing what those problems are as they see it, their words. Like, you can never do enough research in this department. You can never gather enough information, because as you grow, your client base is going to shift and change as well. So this is a constant process of deepening your understanding. And so Judy, talk a little bit about that for yourself, because it's been a journey for you. You're who started over here, and then you're like, yeah, it's over here now.
I actually went through before we started the Soul Client Alignment program, I went through my big notebook with all of my notes, because I love to take notes because I'm such a nerd. And I saw how it started, and I was like, oh, this is garbage. I'm so not there anymore. So let's see, where am I right now? So I want to work with this astrological energy that we have coming up with the full moon and the eclipse. And this is 11th house energy. And for me, it's in Taurus. So Sherry gave me a list of attributes that go with Taurus, and also the 11th house, as well as my 5th house is in Scorpio, which we're in Scorpio season, and I have a list of those attributes.
Okay, so I'm going to hit pause. Let's pause for a second. So let me back up and explain why she's even talking about this. So one of the things, the other piece of creating content where you focus and are connecting with your soul clients, is working from your unique design. And so that's really important. Once we've identified our who, then us showing up in our own uniqueness, in our own design. And when we're doing it from that place, from that energy, we can connect with our community. And the 11th house in astrology, those are our people. That is our community. It's both our community of potential clients and just our people in general, who we attract into the world. And the 5th house on the other end is the inner world portion that, helps bridge that gap, bridge those two worlds. So when we look at, where your people are, or what your people desire, your folks, we're looking at both of those energies. So that's where Judy's coming from. And so it makes sense. So it's a deep and fun and powerful way to take external data and put it through your internal filter, because the more we're showing up excited and energized about our who and where we're hanging out with them, the more that energy is going to land in, out in the world. So
I think the more that we understand where they're coming from and what their for lack of a better term, trigger points are, that's going to get them to be like, oh my gosh, yeah, I resonate with that. I think that's the beauty of putting these two things together. is knowing, how I can be of service, how I can reach them, how does it make me feel, how does it light me up, and then where they are, who they are, what do they appreciate, what would they like to hear, what would they like to see. So there's that bridge, and that's the part I find fun, is putting those pieces together.
Right. And you have a love, like I do, for astrology. And it is, one of the tools in your toolbox. It's one of the tools in my toolbox. It's not all that we do. It's one lane of what we do. And so, so the two pieces before we dive in and use Judy as a full-blown example here. Two of the things that will help you to connect and shine, because if you're shining, people are going to resonate with your energy. Your folks are going to connect with that when it feels easy. And when you're doing things within your unique wiring and design, you get flow. Things feel fun. They're easier. So those are the two things. So really deeply, truly understanding your who, putting the time, energy, and resources into that so that you know what their problems are as they see it. And then, layering in, working from your own unique design. Judy's not meant to, the way she's wired and designed, she's not showing up on TikTok doing dances. That's not her energy. That's not.
This took convincing. Even though I'm a Leo and should be a show off, but this took convincing. I was like, I have to go live?
Okay. Right. So Judy's not going to be the one doing Facebook Lives every week. No. That's not her mojo. Now, she'll record a video, make it beautiful, have all the things, because that's part of her design. So know thyself. And that's one of the things we've been working with is for Judy and everyone, and I make it the last phase of soul client alignment for a reason, because if we're all worried about where we're supposed to connect with people, we forget about just being in the energy of saying yes to clients. And everyone ends up with clients before we've identified where is in your highest and best. And Judy's was a little more tricky because there wasn't anything just magical of like, oh, this is, some people's charts, some people's information is easy. It's like, oh, you're meant to be on Facebook. You're meant to be, and they love it. And it's easy. Judy's was a little more, it's still a bit of a mystery, her Scorpio.
It's esoteric.
A little more esoteric. So understanding all these pieces, right? Okay, so let's dive in and play with Judy today as an example of how I'm encouraging her to get curious and ensuring that she's navigating her who. So I woke up this morning to this giant thread and I'm reading all of it and I'm like, did you change lanes with your who? Because I'm like, all of a sudden it's all this, not all of the sudden, because I know you have a passion for astrology, but here's my reflection as I'm reading.
Been talking about it.
And I'm like, there is not one sentence in all of what you've wrote about someone who's struggling with Western medicine who needs a shift. And so I'm like, did we change? And it's fine to change directions, but so let's be clear first that is who you want to talk to.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We haven't changed our mind yet, which is fine. You would change your mind. Okay. So so let's put the frame. So here's the framework, right? We're creating a framework, not a formula. So we have our who, we know who this person is. This is somebody who's been struggling with Western medicine. They might have a diagnosis that nobody really gets and doesn't know how to treat. They're getting doctor after doctor and it's just exhausting. And maybe they're a little bit better, but they got a pile of pills and appointments and they're overwhelmed. They're exhausted. They're burnt out with the Western medicine system, right? Did I miss anything?
No, you did not.
Okay.
I did another in my new roadmap or updated roadmap. I put on there their, how's it showing up in their life, right?
Yes.
Anxiousness, worry, fear, over feelings of lack of security because of their finances, lack of clarity in their career focus and performance, not having the healthy resilience that they need to keep up with their day-to-day demands.
Right. Beautiful. Beautiful. So that's really important. So we identify how it's showing up and how they see it. So what's it impacting? So then we know what to talk about. So
Right. Their impact, it's money, is creating a mental instability and lack of clarity. In their health, it's creating irritability, possibly even depression. Their relationships, it's creating a discord, unnecessarily creating discord. Spiritually, they're feeling unfulfilled and squashed.
okay. Yeah. Beautiful.
Stifled.
Yeah. Yeah. And these are all things that not things Judy came up with from here. She did her research. So these are things that her soul clients say are impacts, right? I'm clear?
Right.
We're clear? Yes.
Yeah.
So she's continuing to deepen her understanding, and these are things that they say. So talk a little bit about the offer that you want to put out there to bring some folks into your world.
Okay, so very roughly, the offer that I want to bring is a monthly recorded session. And I say recorded because I think that a lot of people are not ready to accept that they have, or not accept, but be, what's the word I'm looking for? Not aware, because they're aware, but they just have these feelings and emotions and so tucked away that they don't really want to join an open group to say, hey, yeah, I've got this and I've got that. You know what I mean?
Beautiful. So this is important too, right? So how we deliver something to someone, and I see people do this all the time. They deliver things and create things in ways that their soul clients aren't able to digest, right? So Judy's awareness is that her folks in the beginning, maybe in level 2 or level 3 of working with her, might be ready for group, but where they are right now, this is private, this is personal. And so the work needs to be honor that. And so creating something that they can do on their own, in their own time, in their own way, or with her one-to-one is going to get her better results than trying to say, hey, you want to raise your hand and join this group of others, which they're, now you could, there are ways that, and there are some identified soul clients that even with medical issues would say, yes, but in her case, she's being focused, and she knows for her folks, it's a inner struggle. So that's why. So that's great. So we're putting out something that's in the energy that they will.
Yes, that they will respond to, that they'll feel comfortable working with.
Yes.
And it's also going to have, some sort of I don't want to say a workbook, but maybe like some kind of a little handout, kind of like the awareness roadmap that you give us, where they can just kind of fill things out and just read it back to themselves and see, how these things, land with them, and giving them an opportunity to, book a call with me and see, if after doing this monthly work, they're ready to commit to the big program, So
from a structure perspective, we've got the front door of this offer needs to meet them where they're at.
Right.
And then the second thing it will need to do is bring them to a new understanding.
Right.
We're bringing them along the journey.
Exactly.
And then we need to have a call to action or some way to encourage, to continue to a welcome sequence, nurture sequence, whatever you want to call it, some way to continue to engage with them and eventually bring them, if they're meant to be, to work with you. So that's the arc that we want to create. So we know where they're at to a certain degree. So let's get clear about that. So what's the problem that this monthly little bite-sized offer is going to address for your soul client?
Well, in my problem as they see it,
Yes, as they
right,
see it.
is they're thinking, is this all there is to life? Work, pay bills, and die. And it's all creating a lot of anxiety to keep up with all of their demands. And there's no joy in it. There's
Okay.
no joy in it. And it's affecting them in the sense of, creating that anxiety, creating, adding on to that worry, adding on to that, and their physical being is just feeling worn down, burnt out.
Okay, so I'm going to stop you
Mm-hmm.
because none of that told me anything about someone who's until the very end that's possibly struggling with navigating Western medicine.
Okay.
So if that's your who that we're talking to, so again, we got to be really specific.
Right.
So what part of that, like, is my life just going? So I'm going to reframe what she just shared. My life is all about doctor's appointment and doctor's appointment after doctor's appointment, pill bottle after pill bottle. I don't even know how to nurture or care for myself anymore. I'm overwhelmed, I'm anxious, and I'm burnt out on all of it. But I don't have time, money, or energy. I don't have whatever to be
Right.
able to like just take a moment for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so see, but we need to call them out from the get-go who they are so they know you're talking to them. Make sense?
Yep. Sure does.
Okay. So when y'all are thinking about what you're saying, we need to be clear. And I know oftentimes we want to like throw out a big umbrella. I can help everybody or anybody. And this isn't about niching down. It is about being direct with what you're offering and what you're saying. Not everyone's supposed to meant to work with you. So we need to be really clear. Otherwise, Judy could call in people who are just burnt out with their career or people who are just burnt out with their family life or having a bad relationship situation. And those, yes, she can help them. Yes, her process helps them. And she has for now who has medical issues that they are navigating. So we need to call that out.
Yes.
Make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm navigating medical issues. I am overwhelmed. I'm frustrated. It's about to be the holidays. We're about to add in all that to the situation. What can you do for me that's going to give me a bit of Judy magic, understanding who I am and where I'm at, that's going to say, that will bring me to a new understanding?
Okay. So we just skipped over a couple of things, which I want to bring up. I'm just going to read it really fast. So in their words, as you were saying, I need pills to keep me calm and focused, right? But these pills are making me feel indifferent to everything in life, just blah. They help me go through the motions, but I don't seem to enjoy anything fully. So for me, the problem under the problem is what I see. There's a lot of broken things in their lives that more than just their finances, more than just the healthcare issues that they're having. There's a lot of broken things that they don't realize are part of the problem. And they hide everything to make everything look like everything's normal.
Mm-hmm.
So the understanding that they need to come to is that their feelings are valid and they are worthy of self-care.
So what is their belief about self-care? Like right now, like what do they believe about self-care?
They don't have time for it.
Okay.
They don't have time for it. They probably can't afford it. They don't know even where to start.
Okay, perfect. Don't have time for it. No, listen,
Mm-hmm.
Don't have time for it, can't afford it. So
Right.
you're about to give them an offer
Mm-hmm.
that will give them self-care that they do have time for and that they can afford.
Correct.
Right? So see how we're looping this in. So now that, and within that offer, it feels doable. That's something they can do on their own time, their own energy. It's self-paced and it's going to take them to a new understanding.
Yes.
So the only thing now, again, one of the things I also see is, one of the banters we were having in this thread was, but it's going to be all about the astrology of the full moon. And I'm like, do they even care? Like, is that something they care about? is that something they're invested in? Now, if her who is a person who is very spiritual and is very much into astrology and that's who they are, then okay, that's messaging she can have up front. But we're not clear that that is a thread for her who yet. So we got to back up the train and you can have that within your content, but the front door, what it looks like on the outside, needs to have the energy that your who desires. It needs to feel easy for these folks. It needs to feel like a nice warm cozy blanket, a cup of tea, right? Your folks, it needs to feel like they're being taken care of. They're really seen, because now we look at her 5th house in Scorpio, right? So tell me some of those words that are in your 5th house energy.
Well, therapy is one of them. Transformation of wound into something positive. Transformation. There's also wounds, pain, trauma, secrets, intuition, mysteries, research, passion, excitement. I'm going to skip over architecture because it doesn't apply here.
No. Okay. That's good. That's enough. So these are things that Judy, based on her astrology, can help her. Her clients are looking to her for. She's gifted in these areas, and these are things that her clients will appreciate that she brings to the table. So that she's going to make them feel like, what I'm seeing here is like, oh, it's like a warm, cozy blanket. Like, you get me, you see me, you know my secret. You know my secret that I am really, really burnt out. I'm putting on a happy face for the rest of the world, and it's BS. Right?
Right.
So that's the inner. This is the inner. In the wheel of astrology, this would be underneath. It's the I, that's the me portion. And it's what Judy's gifted at taking people on a journey through. Now we come up to the public house, her community, and how they're showing up in the world and what they so. Let's talk about that. So what is your public 11th house?
These people like luxury products and services. They like food and cooking. They also like a number of things that have to do with finances, like, you know, their security, the focus on their career, stocks. They also are interested in career-wise in teamwork, in performance, in their education. So they want to learn about this stuff. They want to learn about this self-care. They want to, you know, but they also want to be able to do it on their own time, maybe while they have on a nice mask, you know, a face mask and, you know, a cup of tea, and they're in their jammies. And am I going too far? I'm taking this ball.
No, but you're setting a stage and a picture, right? For these folks, it needs to feel luxurious. It needs to feel comfortable. And so the whatever you are giving them needs to have that energy with it. That's what they're going to be attracted to. Now, this is specific to Judy's chart and Judy's people. So looking at what's in your 11th house and will help you to know what your community is about and who you attract. So this is not everybody, but the process we're going through here, you can apply to your own people and your own business. So this bite-sized offer needs to be infused with this energy. So it could be any number of things. It could be, you know, here is a mini, you know, self-care ritual that you can do anytime, anywhere. It could be around food. You could provide a recipe for them to make this amazing nourishing tea because they're not well, like that helps them with their nerves and their anxiety. And along with it is this beautiful meditation and journaling exercise.
Right.
But the front door is this recipe for this high-end gorgeous tea that will then walk them through. And then each month you're giving them a new recipe and then you're keeping them on a journey. So see how I infused all of that? And within the process, within the journaling and the meditation, she'll take them on a discovery to take them to the next stays in the awareness, she'll bring them along, baby step. And then the follow-up emails, conversations, support will continue them along that journey. Is this getting the creative juices flowing? Now this feeds Judy because this feeds Judy's wiring and design, and I know her, so it feeds her because she loves to create. She loves to create beautiful things. So she gets to create this beautiful offer that infuses all of this Taurus energy, yet has the Scorpio energy of, you know, saying, maybe in her meditation, it's talking about, you know, you have your secrets that no one knows about, how you, that what you're hiding, you know, from the world. But in this safe space, you don't have to hide anymore. You're supported, you know, whatever.
You have your wounds that you don't talk about to anyone. You have your pain and your trauma that you don't want to, that is difficult to face, but this is a safe space for you to face it in.
And we need to be really, and I would say, you know, being careful. Like, I wouldn't use trauma as a word, trigger word, or wounds. 5th grade language. This is what I get all the time. It's like, we use 5th grade language when we're talking to our soul clients initially, until we've brought them all the way along the awareness journey and their understanding of the problem under the problem is deeper. Then we can use deeper, richer language. But this is where people get stuck often. And so I'm always rewriting with folks and reverbaging things so that we keep it simple and they don't get triggered. We don't, especially if you're not holding space for someone, we need to be stewards of this. We don't want to open Pandora's box. It needs to be a baby step for this person where they're just like, wow, the awareness in this case, Judy, might just be, wow, self-care is just making myself this amazing cup of tea and listening to this meditation. I can do self-care.
Right.
And I'm looking forward to the next one because it brought me to this new awareness of like, wow, I am in control of my, you know, I have a bit of control over my life in this moment. So what is the outcome? What do we want people to receive from what we're sharing? What do we want them to what's the new understanding we want them to walk away with? And that's the piece that you need to focus on so that all this ties together.
So I think that focusing their inner work and healing some of these areas of their life as we go along in these little mini sessions, to clear blocks, mental patterns, creating new perspectives in all of these areas.
What I would say, knowing your who, is that the new understandings you're going to want them to come to is that there are 3 other layers besides the physical that they impact their well-being. So Judy's program is the 4 pathways. So the intention I would have for you is that each time you're opening the door a little bit to to one of the pathways. So you start just bringing them in on the self-care, overwhelmed, exhausted, burnt out from the system, and you help them feel better. You put that warm blanket around them. You let them taste a little luxury for themselves and they feel secure in your energy.
Right.
And then you start to introduce them to the different pathways through a similar format that they feel comfortable with. So next month, it's a new recipe that addresses the emotional piece. The month after that, it's a new recipe. And I'm using recipe. You can use whatever you want.
Yeah.
But and I mean, you've got so many tools in your toolbox.
Mm-hmm.
You can still use the energy of astrology that you love within this process, because each month has a cycle. So you can address that. Say, you know what, this month I was inspired by the Scorpio lunar cycle. And this is why. So that you can, and that will weed out people who aren't astro curious. You know, if you want your people to be astro curious, you know, what are your non-negotiables? And then you're taking them on a journey to bring them into being curious about the 4 pathways. And then they're like, yeah, I'm not addressing the mental, emotional, spiritual side of my well-being. This is why Western medicine can't help me as well. I need Judy. Judy gets me. Judy sees me, and Judy's got the answer. This is where we want to take people, to this understanding that Judy's got the answer.
Yes.
So yes to all the things you said, and slow the train up.
It's actually making me, I was thinking of like a 7 month, and then I was like, no. Let's put it down to a 4 month.
Or 5.
Or 5.
If the first one is very general,
yes,
maybe the first 2 need to be general. And then the next ones are a little more specific.
Right.
And these should be rinse and repeat things. Why I would say you may or may not want to infuse the lunar cycle is because then you have to continue to create.
Right. True.
We also want to do what is not going to drain us. If you haven't heard me say this once or 10 or 1,000 times, a thriving business requires a nourished and happy you, which is why we want to create content that doesn't wear us out.
Yeah.
That we're not in a constant cycle of creation that's not getting us results. So if we have to create new content all the time, and it's not inspiring. Now, she may do that for her own clients. Like if I were, and I do advise you. So what I would say to you is your current and past clients, like what I do, get the actual, what are they getting out of this lunar cycle? Use that because they already are at a new understanding. They're already in your world. Then you can go deep and play with what you love because they already know that's in your toolbox. They already get it. And then you can have fun with it with your audience of people who know, like, and trust you already. So, and that's a nurture sequence too for your own people as they leave your world. Continue to send them these things that will keep you top of mind. Right. So I'm being intentional with her content right now, right? She really wants to infuse the astrology. So as her mentor, I'm giving her a way to do it. So, but I'm also showing her how if she does it for people who are just coming in her world, it may exhaust her. So we want to honor our unique wiring and design, and we got to meet people where they're at.
Right. Okay.
What's your biggest takeaway right now?
My biggest takeaway right now is that this session has helped me to, because I had like ideas popping everywhere, so now I've gotten it whittled down to, okay, so let's refocus here into, who my who is, and how I'm going to reach them, or not how, but what's going to knock on that door and say, hey, this is interesting. I'm curious about this. Now I just have to figure out where I'm going to put this stuff.
I know. And that's layer 2. And that's layer 2. That's this next week. We're going to work on that. So I would love to know in the comments, what are you all taking away from this conversation? What are your big takeaways here? Pop those in the comments. The more that we hear things and then put them into play, how can you utilize this information in your own business for yourself? What are your biggest takeaways? Drop them in the comments. I would love to know. And then, if you've got to struggle with something that you want to, to dive into, we can certainly do that. Leave your questions there, leave your comments. If I don't know you well or know your content, you've got to be fairly specific so I can assist. But so let's just kind of recap what just happened. My job is to help people get clear. This is what clear and trust yourself. I'm like, if I just whittled it down. So Judy has all the answers. She did. She was, when we get excited and into creation mode, we need to drop back in and get back to basics, which is why I'm so I feel like you have the basics, Judy, from being in soul client alignment, because you know what to come back to. You know how to understand your who. And so when we start to level up and do these other layers in our business, you know what to come back to. We've got to build the foundation first.
Yes.
Before we build the house. which is why we don't start with a bite-size offer, which is why we don't start with this, signature program. We start with understanding our who.
Ourselves.
And ourselves.
Yeah.
Inner and outer journey.
Mm-hmm.
Inner and outer journey. All right. Lane says, my big takeaways: remember to meet them where they are, restate their problem as they see it. Yes. Just bring them to the next level of awareness. Invite them to the next phase or offer. Yes. Well done. Well done. Well done. So yeah, it's a journey. And I posted earlier this week about, we see where we want to go. We're so inspired. We really see what our business can do, what we can do for others. And we try to skip steps to get there. We're in such a hurry, but Bruce Monroe did not build that amazing light installation of 52,800 individual stems without a lot of support, without a lot of vision, and without a lot of patience. We don't get that beautiful canvas completely built and drawn in and the picture completely designed until we work on the outline, until we have the frame. We need the canvas, then we need this color and that color, and it starts to come together. And then my other metaphor this week was my kitchen, right? So did you like that?
I did.
I was shocked when the woman said to me, don't pick your backsplash yet. Have options, but don't pick it till everything's in. And that's the same thing we're looking at here. I encourage, I don't ever, it's not mine I suggest that you don't create a signature program or a bite-size offer until you have the framework in place, until you have your countertops and your cabinets and you've picked your paint color, because otherwise you are going to be having you're not stuck with these things, right? But you've put a lot of energy and effort and commitment into something, and then you're not happy with it.
Right.
So, making sense?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know who this is saying, great job, Judy. It's clear you are open to this Sherry Moyse-isms. And her helping you sort out the details from your big picture vision.
I hear her voice in my head every day. Be patient with the forming. Be patient with the forming. It makes me get up and walk away when I get frustrated with a design. And I just, I'm just gonna look at that later. I'll look at it later.
Look at it later. Yes. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, my friends, thank you, my dear. And now we could send you off to be patient with the forming. It doesn't have to be out tomorrow now. It doesn't have to be out by the full moon.
No.
It gets to be inspired action and make it intentional. What's the goal? What are you trying to create here? And why? So that, what do you want your soul client to feel when they're experiencing this in your world? So, all right. And as a, I haven't talked about it in a minute, but the winter version of fall, I would call it fall winter because it's not quite winter yet, but we're technically starting in the first week of December. The next round of soul client alignment is, we still have some spots left. And so if you are curious, how did Judy get to this place of really, understanding her who, and, being able to have this deep discovery, and you're wondering if this is for you, if you are not getting the results you want or scared to get started because your marketing feels overwhelming and you're not sure how to price your offers, all the things. This is foundational work that will serve you time and time and time again. Judy can come back to this anytime her energy shifts and she has a new who. She's got work under her belt and formats and systems and processes to help her on her journey for the long haul. I want to teach you how to fish, not just give you a fish. And so, again, there's 4 spots left, I think. I'll know later, but that's what it looks like. And so hop on my calendar, take a look at the page, see what resonates. And even if you're just curious, let's hop on a call and get clear about what might be best next for you. So, and Judy, anything you would say to anyone who's thinking about it?
I think it's a worthwhile investment for spiritual entrepreneurs and anyone who's in this realm. I know you have other people that you coach, but anyone who's in this realm, it's a worthwhile investment because it really helps you to get clear. This program really helps you to get clear on the direction. Like I said in the beginning of this chat, I went back and looked at what I thought my program was going to look like in the beginning, and I threw it away. Because I said I'm not even going anywhere near that. I mean, I'm way off base from where I am now. So it's well worth the investment in yourself, in your business, and for your clients too.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the
Yeah.
program I wish I had had in the beginning, but it's what I
Mhm.
created because I want to save you time, money, and energy,
Yeah.
so that you aren't frustrated and burnt out and, feeling like, can I really do this? You can do this. You're meant to do this.
Right.
You just need the right framework in place before you start throwing tactics into the mix. Don't put up the backsplash until you know what the cabinets and the countertops are going to look like and all the
Yes.
things. So,
Yes.
all right, Judy, thank you for playing today.
Okay.
And
Thank you for having me.
I know you don't love being on video, but I thought we could, it was a win-win. Judy gets to I get some support on her
Yes.
bite-sized offer, and you all get to see the process and
Yes.
learn something at the same time.
Yeah.
So, all right, my friends. All right. Pop on my calendar, take a look at the program if you're not where you want to be and you've got a vision for your future that includes some amazing soul clients, and let's get you where you need to be. All right, everybody, have a beautiful rest of your day, and as always, remember, all it takes is a little bit of heart power. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.